There is a reason why ancient Egypt is considered one of the most intriguing civilizations in history. The pyramids and the mummified remains they left behind are many things to remind us of them. Although it has been centuries since we began excavating sites in Egypt, there is still much more to unearth, and we are going to explore all those discoveries. Number 1. Hidden Chamber in the Pyramid of Cheops. The 19th century marked a rise in interest in ancient Egyptian civilization. Excavations were carried out on the Great Pyramid of Giza as early as the 1830s. It was in the 1830s that researchers concluded that the Great Pyramid belonged to Pharaoh Khufu, and even today we continue to discover unprecedented finds in the pyramid. The most recent is a hidden camera that would not have been found if it were not for the advancement in our technology. Archaeologists discovered a huge 30-meter-long corridor just above the entrance to the pyramid. This was possible through cosmic ray imaging. This newly discovered corridor has sparked the imagination of many, some suggesting that it could have been used to distribute the pyramid's immense weight or to relieve pressure around other internal structures. Some also believe it is a step towards another yet undiscovered chamber within the pyramid. I know you're curious, but unfortunately it may take time to uncover the truth about this tunnel. Is it an accidental resource or a deliberate addition to the pyramid? If so, what is its purpose? Again, it may take time to discover the truth. Number 2. Mummy wrapped in gold. The word mummy has become synonymous with ancient Egypt, so, although surprising, there is nothing unusual about finding mummies in excavations carried out in the region. However, this particular mummy attracted renewed interest due to its uniqueness. It was wrapped in gold and is believed to be the oldest one announced last year. This was found in the Sakara necropolis. The mummy, later identified as a cap, was housed within a sealed stone sarcophagus in the depths of a 33-ton pit, wrapped in layers of gold foil that enveloped it like rays of the sun. Gold, a material that the ancients believed held the essence of the gods, was not just a status symbol, but a conduit to the divine. A cap adorned with a gold bracelet and sash was prepared for its journey into the afterlife with meticulous care, reflecting the Egyptian belief in the transformative power of gold. This preparation was rooted in the idea that in death, as in life, one could achieve a state of divine existence by joining the pantheon of gods under the eternal watchfulness of the moon and sun. These preserved remains are believed to be over 4,300 years old, possibly making it the oldest mummy we have unearthed so far. Number 3. Portraits of mummies. Here is another discovery that highlights the importance of death and how the deceased were respected and remembered in ancient Egypt: mummy portraits. Recent excavation at the Jersa archaeological site within the Fayum region, first identified in 2016, revealed a funerary structure filled with artifacts. Among these are detailed portraits of mummies and photos of the people behind the preserved mummies. These portraits, found for the first time in more than a century, depict ancient Egyptians with realism and beauty. This recent discovery includes remarkably well-preserved portraits, depicting individuals with stunning realism, some even with expressions that seem to convey their personality over time. Furthermore, it seems that these portraits also showed the social status of the person. After all, hiring an artist in that moment would be something that only a high-status person could afford. Although people have been found buried in less intricate and simpler tombs with portraits, most of them were not as realistic or grandiose as those of the elite of the time. Number 4. 1,300 tunnel under a temple. In 2022, Kathleen Martinez, an archaeologist at the University of Santo Domingo, announced a possibly crucial discovery. Martinez and her team discovered a 1,300 long tunnel, approximately 13 underground, while excavating under a temple in Egypt, dating from the Toic period, which spanned from 304 to 30 BC. The tunnel's purpose was multifaceted, serving primarily to transport water to the city's inhabitants. Its design parallels the Polonius Tunnel in Greece, an ancient engineering achievement that served as an aqueduct on the island of Samos. This tunnel is so well built that it has been hailed as a geometric miracle. What is so special about this discovery? Martinez believes this tunnel could lead to Cleopatra's long-lost tomb. Martinez, whose journey from criminal lawyer to archaeologist is a story of passion and dedication, has long held the belief that the final resting place of Cleopatra, the last queen of Ptoic Egypt, and her lover, the Roman general Mark Antony, may be hidden within Taposiris Magna. The relentless search for it over the past 15 years has not only uncovered the tunnel, but has also brought to light numerous artifacts that offer insight into the life and times of ancient Egypt. She's not the only one fascinated by Queen Cleopatra. After all, she is among the most striking figures in ancient Egyptian history. Cleopatra's legacy is intertwined with her relationships with powerful Roman figures such as Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, her efforts to defend Egypt's independence from the expanding Roman Empire, and her tragic suicide that marked the end of Ptoic rule and the beginning of Roman domination. Unlike many of her Stoic predecessors, Cleopatra was known for her linguistic ability. She could speak several languages, including Egyptian, which she used to communicate directly with her subjects. This was a break from previous rulers, who relied heavily on Greek, the language of the Ptoic court. Her ability to speak several languages, including Ethiopian, Troglodyte, Hebrew, Arabic, Median, and Latin, in addition to Greek, allowed her to negotiate and interact with many of the ethnic groups within her kingdom and with foreign dignitaries. I'm not sure how she managed to learn all these languages and more. The queen herself was also highly educated and involved in various fields of study, including astronomy, mathematics, and economics. Her keen interest in pharmacology is evidenced by historical accounts that she wrote a medical treatise that included remedies and cosmetic recipes, indicating her diverse interests and knowledge. In addition to her intelligence, she also had wisdom. She was a shrewd political operator in her own right, using magic, naval power, and economic policies to strengthen Egypt's position. Her reign was marked by efforts to revitalize Egypt's economy, including the development of trade networks and the accumulation of a substantial supply of grain, a critical resource in the ancient world. In addition to her political and linguistic achievements, Cleopatra has been a cultural icon, symbolizing various aspects of feminine power, intelligence, and beauty in different periods and cultures. Unfortunately for us, Cleopatra's tomb remains elusive. When discovered, it will surely be the next revolutionary discovery in human history. Number 5. New Understanding of Mummification. We once believed that ancient Egyptians mummified their dead to preserve their bodies, but researchers at Manchester Museum say this is wrong. According to them, mummification was done to guide the deceased towards divinity. Victorian researchers were wrong to believe that the Egyptians mummified like we preserve fish with salt. The Egyptians actually used a natural mineral called natron that was found near the Nile and was used in cleansing and temple rituals, as well as mummification. This discovery will change what we knew about mummies. Number 6. Protective birth tattoos. In ancient Egypt, some women got tattoos before giving birth to protect themselves during childbirth. 6 mummies with tattoos have been found in Deir el-Medina. Although ancient tattoos are rare to find, archaeologists have found images of Bes, a god who protects women during childbirth, and black lines on a woman's lower back. Preserving the skin is important, since archaeologists cannot unroll the mummies. Experts believe these women may have tattooed protective images of gods on their bodies, like wearable magical amulets. The discovery of these tattoos provides new information about the beliefs and practices of women in ancient Egypt. Number 7. The 16 Hands. In Egypt, the excavation team discovered 16 human hands buried in 4 separate pits, but that's not the strangest thing. They are all right hands, there are no left hands. According to experts, this is the first physical evidence of an ancient practice in which soldiers cut off the right hand of their enemies and exchanged it for gold. The 2 wells found in front of what is believed to be a throne room contain 1 hand each, while the other 2 wells contained the remaining 14 right hands. These wells were built in a space outside the palace at a later date. Cutting off an enemy's right hand had a symbolic purpose of taking away their strength and power eternally. The director of the excavations at Avaris, Dr. Manfred Biatak, explained that the right hand was chosen specifically to facilitate the counting of victims. It is believed that the Hyksos, who ruled Egypt between the 16th and 17th centuries BC, were the ones who introduced this practice. However, no records of this practice have been found in the Hyksos north of Canaan, so it is uncertain whether the Hyksos took it from the Egyptians or vice versa, or whether it originated somewhere else. The discovery of these hands is chilling and offers a glimpse into the ancient world of war and violence. Number 8. The Unknown Queen of Sakara. In the tombs of Sakara, they are rewriting the history of ancient Egypt. In this necropolis located 31 kilometers south of Cairo, archaeologist Zahi Hawass found in January 2021 the tomb of a previously unknown sovereign named Queen Neat. The Sakara necropolis was part of the cemetery of Memphis, the ancient capital, and the funerary monuments of 17 pharaohs, including the step pyramid of Djoser, the oldest in the world, built in the 27th century BC. Following the discovery, the archaeologist, who was Egypt's Minister of Antiquities, declared, "We are now writing a new chapter in the history of the ancient kingdom by adding the name of a new queen to the list." The team found inscriptions that point to Neith as the daughter of a pharaoh. Experts wonder if her husband was also her father, which would not be surprising, since incest was not a strange practice among Egyptian royalty. If true, Sakara would be the first king to marry his daughter. Number 9. Canopic glasses. The mummification process of the Egyptians consisted of the extraction of the main organs and then carrying out a separate mummification process. Later, they were kept in special containers that were placed next to the mummy. We are referring to the Canopic Jars, a constant throughout the history of Egypt, and today they are a valuable source of information for archaeologists. They were usually closed with a flat slab since the discovery of the process, but at the beginning of the New Kingdom, the plug took the shape of the head of the deceased and of various animals. Centuries later, the head of these different vases protected the organ they contained. Additionally, it had representations of different deities. For example, Hapi had a human head and kept the liver, Imsidi had a lid in the shape of a baboon's head and kept the lungs, Duamutef with a jackal-shaped lid contained the stomach. The containers were protected in a tomb by a titular goddess such as Isis, Nephthys, Selkis and Nephthys, and had to be oriented towards one of the cardinal points, as required by the ritual. In this ancient culture there was a belief that if they were not kept well, the deceased would not revive in the afterlife. Number 10. The Silver Pharaoh. In 1940, the Frenchman Pierre Monti made an unprecedented archaeological discovery that earned the recognition of the scientific community. What he found was the tomb of the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Susnepes I. The discovery occurred in the city of Tennis, where the crypt was almost intact. Susnepes first ruled from 1039 to 991 BC. His original name, Susenzai, means the star that appears in the beloved city of Ammon. His burial demonstrated great magnificence commensurate with his importance. In the tomb was not only the pharaoh, but also his wife, 2 other pharaohs before his reign, a prince and a priest. Looking at his sarcophagus, we will know that he was called the Silver Pharaoh. The outer sarcophagus was made of red granite, and the middle one was made of black granite, both of which had been reused or usurped. The mummy of Susnepes was inside a third solid silver coffin, something unusual in ancient Egypt, since having to be imported, it was a rarer and more valuable metal than gold. Additionally, the coffin had rich gold decoration, including a funerary mask. The entire outer shell was found surprisingly in very good condition. Its interior, on the other hand, was completely disintegrated, indicating that, despite the luxury, the best preparations were not made for the preservation of the body.